Speakers, again, you have 3 minutes to address the board. Please limit remarks to new points. Begin the comments at the green light. The yellow light means you have 30 seconds left. Red light means your time is over. Adjust the microphone as necessary, and audience members, please refrain from making comments when other speakers are at the podium. Please be respectful to that. And please note that the board policy 1312.1 outlines the procedure for anyone who wishes to file a complaint against a district employee.
The first speaker, please.
Cassandra Sanchez, followed by Julie Santasola, followed by Andrea Roberts. The mic.
Let's reset the timer and see if that works.
Hello? Okay. Hello, school board members and fellow Americans. We the people want the school board members to tell Mr. Biden, Gavin Newsom, Senator Richard Pan, Fauci, and Bill Gates that we say no to drugs and that we will not comply with their medical mandates. And this is the reason why.
Funded because of vaccine fraud, says April 24th, 2020. Vine vetted for accuracy. Breaking news: government funding pulled from Gates Foundation, WHO and CDC, Center for Disease Control. U.S. government lost landmark vaccine lawsuit in 2018. Vaccine injury lawyer Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Del Bigtree, producer of the suppressed vaccine documentary, VAXXED, and the Informed Consent Action Network, ICAN, are credited with this victory. They demanded the relevant government documents proving that all federally approved vaccines had been tested for quality over the past 32 years, and there were none. Zero. Zilch. Nada. Here are the huge legal and practical implications in this victory for the American people. This means that the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and all vaccine makers have been deceiving the American people for over 30 years about the effectiveness and safety of vaccines. This may ultimately mean that the continuing existence, at least in their current form, of 5 U.S. healthcare agencies is now in doubt: the CDC, the FDA, the IM, the NIC, and the health part of DHHS itself. This may also threaten the existence of state medical boards and exclusive medical guilds like the AMA. This means that vaccine makers have been fraudulently exempt from what all other pharmaceutical drug makers have been forced to do concerning biannual recertification for quality and effectiveness, meaning that their vaccines have never been tested for quality and have had no proven safety or effectiveness for over 30 years. This case can now be legally cited by all parents fraudulently mandated by any government organizational regulation requirements that they must vaccinate their children for school or any other activity to stop the forced vaccination of their children. This case can now be legally cited by all employees being mandated by their employers to be vaccinated in order to retain their jobs. This case can now be legally cited by all those who seek compensation for vaccine injury. The future of allopathic medicine in its current form is now in doubt, and the global pharmaceutical cartel. Since almost all of the drugs allopathic practitioners prescribe come from pharmaceutical corporations that have also committed vaccine fraud and injury, edited liability, all government officials who have passed laws legalizing vaccine fraud at the state, national, or international level, or otherwise aided and abetted this vaccine fraud can now be charged with a vaccine fraud, criminal malfeasance, and in some cases, war crimes under the Nuremberg Code.
Thank you.
Julie Santasola, followed by Andrea Roberts, followed by Crystal Johnson.
Good evening, board members and Chino Valley community. I am here this evening as a mother of 3, an advocate for Crohn's and autism awareness after 2 of my children have had adverse reactions to other vaccines in the past. I am also an advocate for those that are too afraid to speak in fear for repercussions. We, all of us, stand together as a community for freedom, for choice over our bodies and what goes in them. We are not anti-vax. We are anti-forced mandate. This is not a one-size-fits-all, especially for those who have had medical issues like my children, which I spoke about last board meeting. For those who are just too afraid to take the shot due to all the documented life-changing side effects that have caused so many individuals, like this sweet girl over here, so many adverse reactions. My children should not feel stressed, have anxiety, be fearful, or forced to play Russian roulette with their lives, not knowing the side effects that it will have on them short-term or long-term. My children have said to me on many occasions, "Why can't we just be kids? Why won't anyone listen to how I feel? I don't want to risk being sick again, laying in bed, because it really sucks." My Crohn's kid, sorry. Maybe in another 5 or 10 years, who knows, when more research is done, maybe most of us will change our minds. Who knows? But that is our choice. We respect those that have gotten it, and people need to respect ours that do not want it. So, I leave you, board members, with these 3 questions. How are you going to ensure you advocate for all of the children and families and employees of Chino Valley Unified School District to have a choice of what goes in their bodies? Question 2, how are you going to give these children hope, which my son does not have right now, to stay in school without getting the shot? And how will you ensure that the employees will be able to feel secure that they will be able to continue to work and provide for their families without getting this shot? We urge you to take a stand for your employees and your students and your community.
Andrea Roberts, followed by Crystal Johnson, followed by Virginia Renteria.
Hello, board. My name is Andrea Roberts. Some of you know who I am, but for the few that don't, I am a mom of 5 kids, and they've all grown up in the district, and my youngest is now a freshman in high school. I'm here today to ask you to have the option for choice in regards to the announced vaccine mandate. From the Q&A session with Mr. Schaefer this past Tuesday, 2 things were made clear to us. Mr. Schaefer, you said there is nothing you can do in regards to the mandate. You also stated you have a child in school, and as a family, you chose to get vaccinated. And on a personal level, you said you don't agree with the mandate. You are like us, and there are many like you and me that we still want a choice. If it appears to be an unnecessary mandate, it's worth the fight. Just like you had said you weren't willing to lose everything you have, but we all raised our hand. I have a knowledge of a handful of districts publicly stating they are against the mandate. As Mr. Schaefer said this week, there is strength in numbers. We are asking the board to publicly fight for all of us and support choice when there is a clear division of views. Many people know me in the community from my dance studio in Chino, about the size of a small elementary school. We do not require masks, have a gymnasium and 8 dance rooms. For over a year, very low cold and flu numbers, and no one hospitalized. No matter if they have the shot or not, we touch, sweat, and exercise together with no issues. Strands of coronavirus have been around for a long time and will not be going away. Results like this is a reason not to force something into our bodies with not enough years of testing. Independent studies is not an option for my son. With an IEP, we have already done in the past homeschool and co-op. And last year on Zoom, he didn't actually get grades his 2nd trimester because he was unwilling to learn and could not comprehend through a screen. Public education isn't just math and reading. Our tax dollars pay for sports, clubs, and social opportunities, and that is what he needs. Mr. Schaefer, you said Tuesday, we are the minority. I strongly disagree with you, but let's just say we are the minority. Our society is always making room for the minority, and I don't mind it. whether it is information printed in multiple languages, or a different restroom, or religious exemptions, or choice in curriculum. The medical data that is given from public sites do not prove that the vaccine is doing what it is told that it is going to do. Finally, if the board doesn't help us fight for choice and we are forced with the mandate, may we consider a solution? Perhaps different campuses for those vaccinated and unvaccinated. Or let the people decide if they want to go to school like they are attending school now, safely. Thank you, board.
Crystal Johnson. Crystal Johnson, followed by Virginia Renteria, followed by Zach Rabina. Crystal Johnson.
Pat, well, we're waiting
For-
for her to step up. Just to confirm, we had no students that wish to speak? We
That
usually
was
hear
it.
them first.
The first few that spoke, the
Thank
one
you.
that spoke. Crystal Johnson, Virginia Renteria,
Well, thank you. As you know, I've spoken before, and as you can see, we are getting bigger. Last meeting, I said it's going to get bigger, and by God, it's gotten bigger. The parents here are, as you can tell, very passionate. We all are. We want only the best for our children. Chino Hills is, like I've said before, a great school district. However, when we fall into the fight for our children and to have somebody that probably rode in here on a broom telling us, keep your kid home from school. What kind of idiotic statement that is. She's gone on her broom now. But that is just, that I'll have to say was a topper of this evening. Yeah, we'll keep our kids home from school and we'll keep our $14,000 taken out of the school board. Another school for kids that don't want to be vaccinated, hey, I'm all for it. It just makes common sense. This new director of the CDC, that Rachel Wozniak, whatever her name is saying that children who will get vaccinated will still have to wear a mask. Will still have to wear a mask. Yeah, what does that tell you? That tells you that all this is a bunch of BS. Total BS. I appreciate that you, Ms. Christina Gagner, have said that you'll stay here for the whole thing. I really like your change of attitude at the board meeting. Mr. Schaefer, what you've said with some of the parents here has probably not gone over well. Mr. Enfield, you need to step up. You need to step up. If somebody said you're getting $300,000 as an annual salary, oh man, we are paying way too much money. We pay for all of this that goes on. We will fight, and I don't care if we've got a few, everyone has a different opinion, that's true, but don't come here if you don't have a child that's at risk. Don't come here. Out. Thank you very much.
Zach Pobani. Zach Pobani. Zach Pobani. Carrie Schott. Carrie Schott. Donna Pearson. Donna Pearson. Shirley Ayala.
Hi, thank you for your time. I was driving here and I was thinking about it. I'm not totally prepared, but after hearing my two children speak tonight, being their parent, they've been in the school district from kindergarten through 12th grade, and I am so thankful for the wonderful education they got and where they are today because of that. I thank our school district so much. Now I have four grandchildren in the schools here now. So I am here to say, okay, this is just something I need to say. I live right by Volano. I remember years ago, myself and a few other people, we went in our neighborhood where one hill over, where they were Aerojet. My windows, as well as others, would rattle. Oak Ridge Elementary, they were having the rattles there too, as I was told. I don't 100% know. The TV would get crazy. So anyways, we had petitions. We went to the school, to the city council meeting. People went up there with their computers and all professional, and I'm just Shirley, I didn't do that. But all I have to say is this. I asked myself, I said, like there was the guy, the superintendent on the job site. He was on the job. He had to stop, came back, had to stop. I'm sure he lost his business by that happening. And I, as well as other people, I just said, please, make it safe before you go forward. What's the rush? You have to give more, money for the city, which is great, but we need to be safe. And if there was cancer in all that ground and all that, I don't know, but I think there was. And I just saw last week on the Chino Champion where they supposedly, and I called on it too, that it's supposedly all cleaned up now. That's been over 10 years. I remember the trucks going down Peyton, covered. And they were starting to build, stopped, went on, stopped. But guess what? The city council stopped it. Thank you, Chino Hills City Council, for putting the people's health first. I'm not against the shot when we know it's safe for these children. God made the parents the ones to look out for the children. That's our position.
Heather Peary is the next speaker. Heather Peary, followed by Dr. David Wu.
Good evening, President Schaefer, members of the board. My name is Heather Peary. I'm a graduate from Chino Unified School District. My two kids have also grown up in this district. I have a son currently attends Don Lugo High School right now. This issue is not complicated, not at all. It really isn't. I'm not against anyone choosing to get a vaccination. It's their choice. I have some family members that do and others that choose to do not. I'm here to say, stand up for the parents' rights to choose. You had choices when your kids went to school. You grew up in the USA and have always had choice. All these meetings and uproar go away when you put choice back into the parents' hands. There's no need to dance around and act like this is more complicated than it needs to be. I have no charts or facts. You know all of those things. I don't have any sad stories to bring up. You know all those too. Use your power to give parents the choice. Stop and think. Mr. Schaefer, what does it hurt to give a parent a choice over their own kids? You will still hold your title and position. Have the courage to stand against this mandate and give choice to the parents. Thank you.
The next speaker is Dr. David Wu, followed by Jennifer Rodriguez, followed by Freddie Kelser.
Good evening, board. My name is Dr. David Wu. My medical practice is located in the city of Chino. I've been a family chiropractor for over 30 years. Over these many years, I've seen my share of pain, sickness, and disease due to health choices, some good and some bad. Yes, we're a free and responsible people, aren't we? What we're facing today, the mandated COVID injection, is no longer a choice, but it strips away our conscience and freedom to choose for our bodies what is right and what is wrong. There's a Bible verse that depicts the heart of God for the vulnerable, the children. Matthew 18:6 says, "But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him if a millstone were hung around his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea." What's happening to children when they're exposed to these experimental injections with unknown ingredients? When the body detects dangerous toxins, it's like giving a child alcohol. Inflammation occurs, leading to a hyperimmune response in the cells, compromising all your vital organs. These injections are not only failing, but they're putting lives at risk. According to VAERS, our vaccine adverse effect reporting system, currently we have in the U.S. over 16,000 deaths and climbing, 23,000 disabilities, 10,000 myocarditis cases, for example. Even more, the VAERS system is widely known to underreport events by only 1 to 10% at best. You can add probably 1 or 2 more zeros behind that. Probably total 1.5 million deaths at most. So myocarditis, let's take for example, is inflammation of the heart, which can lead to chest pain, shortness of breath, abnormal heartbeat, fatigue, heart attack, and eventually heart failure, stroke, and death. Since these injections have started, there's been a 200% increase in myocarditis. So the COVID injection is basically a blood clot shot. Based on safety and risk of death, this mandatory injection program should have been shut down already by February 2021. 8 months later today, are we still mandating this program and giving it to our children? Why? It's insanity. Realize this, once there's damage to a heart cell, it's replaced with scar tissue, and it's damaged forever.
The next speaker is Jennifer Rodriguez, followed by Freddie Keltzer, followed by Pablo Hernandez. Jennifer Rodriguez. Freddie Keltzer.
Correct, I'm here at the podium.
Pat, who's first?
Jennifer Rodriguez.
Are you ahead of me? Okay, excuse me.
I think you're next, sir.
Jennifer Rodriguez, followed by Freddie Keltzer.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Rodriguez. I'm a 2001 Don Lugo graduate. I volunteered in this community for many years, and I've even worked for the city of Chino. Most importantly, I am the auntie of 6 kids currently in this school district. The decision of whether or not to vaccinate is to be made by parents and guardians and the doctors of their choosing. No disrespect intended, but not by you. I'm also here to kindly remind you that the parents of the Chino Valley Unified School Districts have the support of their families and this community. We do not take parental rights lightly in this community. Your job is to focus on education. Parents are those who are held accountable for the medical care of their children. You are not needed to make any decisions regarding vaccinations. It is not your place, with all due respect. I am against you taking the decision to give any child the COVID-19 vaccination or to withhold it. That is ultimately a parent or a guardian's decision. Look around and realize there are many who are not able to make it here today due to work obligations. Some of us here represent many families. I will give you myself as an example. I represent 4 parents and 6 children, and I will make sure to support them however necessary. I am here speaking for them, asking you to allow parents to be parents. And also to allow them to decide whether or not they will receive the vaccination or refuse it. And I'm asking you to please do not infringe on our parental or guardian rights. Thank you.
Freddie Kelser, followed by Pablo Hernandez, followed by Michael Apolinar.
Good evening, Board. I just want to give you a quick background on myself. I'm retired 27 years from the United States military. And the gentleman that's going to speak after me is retired 38 years. We served the Constitution. We swore an oath to this country. I came in 83. He came in 71. It is the people's right, and it's the parents' right to decide what happens with their children. It's not yours. I respect your position, but you need to put the rights back into the people's hands. Thank you very much.
Pablo Hernandez, followed by Michael Apolinar, followed by May S.
Good evening, Board. My name is Pablo Hernandez. I am a legal alien. I came from Cuba 38 years ago. Okay? My father paid $10,000 for me to come over here, not like these criminals, illegal alien. I call them criminals, illegal wetback. They're coming over here illegal, okay? That's wrong. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell them like it is. You like me, you're going to hate me. Tell the truth, okay? And I tell you that all these Democrats, they're not Democrats. They're a bunch of communists. That's what they are. Don't call them Democrats. They are communists. The one. This is what happened in Cuba. That's right. That's happened to me. They took everything from my family. The house, the cars, our property, our pride, our guns, everything. They strip us of everything. And that's what these communist Democrat, that sleepy, creepy piece of crap is doing over there in the house. And that woman too, she's a piece of crap too, I tell you that. All right? And I tell you people here, these people here are replaceable. If they don't do their job, you need to run and replace them. Get them out. Okay. If they don't do their job, you need to get them out. Okay? And be strong, be brave. See that here, right here? I wear this everywhere I go. No, I'm not afraid of nobody. They first look at me, they say, oh, that's a stupid white boy. But when they open up my mouth, they say, oh, he's not white. Yeah, that's right. I'm Cuban and proud. Okay? I'm not afraid of nobody. The only person I fear in this world is the Son of God, Jesus. Okay? I don't fear no human being. Okay? And I just want to tell everybody, these stupid masks don't work. Because, you know, this mask as useless as Biden is. Okay? And this crap shot don't work either. They just do nothing. They're just making people sick. People getting kidney problem. They're getting liver problem. They're getting blood clot. They're getting all kinds of disease. They're not helping nobody. They're just killing people. The fake news, that's what they are. That's what President Donald Trump called it, the fake news. They don't report the truth. The truth is there's been more dead people dying after the injection that people die before they got the vaccination. Okay, so wake up and quit listening to the fake news. Watch One American News, Newsmax, Epoch Times. Listen to Larry Elder. Listen to 590 AM. Don't listen to this fake news, bunch of communists, okay? Just letting you know, wake up, and if they don't do their job, run for office and replace them. Thank you.
The next speaker is Michael Apolinar. Michael Apolinar, followed by May S., followed by Sean Lim.
Real quick before the next speaker, for the board, we are not going to take any comfort breaks, so if you do need to get up for anything, just feel free. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, Board. My name is Michael Apolinar. I'm very proud to say on the record, I am not vaccinated. And I trust the science that says I have a 99.98% survival rate. Can someone please pay attention to that? Jesus. I'll take my chances over getting the experimental mRNA spike protein vaccine, which is already proven to have caused thousands of deaths, hundreds of thousands of cases of serious injury and adverse side effects, all documented on the CDC VAERS online database. Can someone please take a look at that on the board? That said, I am a lifelong resident of Chino, went to Chino Unified Schools, graduated from Chino High School in 1994, and today, through that education, I made something of myself, and I'm a technology manager in a Fortune 500 company. Thank you. In my hand, I have a copy of my San Bernardino County property tax bill, of which $5,000 goes to support Chino Unified Schools. So in my view, I have a say on district policy and decisions that this board makes. I hope you are listening tonight. As a concerned resident, a homeowner, taxpayer in the city of Chino, I stand here today to voice my vehement opposition to these mask and vaccine mandates which are being shamefully forced on our students. This is immoral, especially given that the science that says masks and vaccines are being proven every day to have little or no efficacy in preventing infection and even death for vaccinated individuals. Let me remind you, all of you, that you are public servants and beholden to the parents of students in the Chino Valley Unified School District. You are beholden to them. Everyone here in this audience, you are beholden to them, not petty tyrants like Governor Newsom, who has gone on the record saying his own children have not been vaccinated. Rules for thee and not for me. You have a moral obligation to our students and parents to not enforce this illegal and unconstitutional vaccine mandate on our children. You must immediately order district council to begin court challenges against Governor Newsom's illegal vax mandates. I'll end with this. If you fail to protect our children and deny parents their God-given right to make medical decisions for their children, you will face a political reckoning. I can assure you that you will be removed from your board seat by these parents in the audience. You mark my words, there will be election consequences in 2022. The day of reckoning is coming. Thank you.
The next speaker is May S., followed by Sean Lim, followed by Daniel Robles.
Hi, yes, I'm here again. Sharon Lim, she has to go because she has something to do. And so I just want to continue my point. You know, I wasn't like this before, even a year ago. I didn't even understand all this. But it's just confusing to me. And again, please understand, this is not against the vaccine itself. When the data become available, we will make another decision. This is about the mandate to take it on our kids where the data is not available. You know, like last year, there's this thing. I hope my...
I think it's going to be a very skeptical American public about taking the vaccine, and they should be.
We can't trust the president and take his word and take a vaccine that might cause harm to us.
If and when the vaccine comes, and it's not likely to go through all the tests that needs to be and the trials that are needed to be done.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us.
When we finally do, God willing, get a vaccine, who's going to take the shot? Who's going to take the shot? We will need to have access to the vaccine results.
So that's a long video, but I was watching that last year, and I'm like, okay, and now isn't it the same vaccine? Why the narrative change so quickly? So I have to think to myself, do I take it? Do my kids take it? And so what is it? I mean, why is it so the rush that we all have to take it right now? With other vaccine, I mean, the data is already there. It's already 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, you know. This one just last year, right? So give us time to think. You know, give us time to make the decision. My daughter has some allergies. I mean, thank God it's not severe. But if she happened to take this vaccine, forced vaccine, she has another allergy. Who's going to be responsible? Who's going to be with me to take care of my kids? You know, are you going to be there personally to help me financially when I have to take care? I took off my job. I mean, I quit my job because my daughter had some condition, and I had to take that decision to take off my job. If my daughter had another reaction, and I'm gonna not able to provide financially, are you gonna be there to help me? So give us time to think. Thank you.
The next speaker is Sean Lim, followed by Daniel Robles, followed by Edward Gonzalez.
Yes, my name is May, and Sean Lin is that one, and my name is May, so we will switch place. But anyway, just wants to let you know one more time that what is happening right now, because we experience firsthand that my brother, mother-in-law, that she is 70 years old, and she was vaccinated. And what happened with her, it just happened 2 weeks ago, that she was hospitalized. And during the hospitalized, when she was admitted, she has a normal blood pressure. She has a normal, no diabetic, no
numbers.
Everything basically normal. No cholesterol, no, what you call it? Yeah, basically all the vital cord is good. But what happened, they found out is there is aneurysm, blood clot everywhere. They cannot find this. Even the doctors, we do have 17 doctors in Loma Linda Hospital. 17 doctors with a total of over 26 doctors working on her case. She is hospitalized for 16 days. The only thing that it's come up in there, it's because of the vaccinations. It's because of blood clot everywhere, and there is no cholesterol. And make notes, if you are a doctor, you know that her blood thinning, it's always been in the number 3 or under, between 2 and 3. And she's always in 2.5. But however, at that time, the blood clot is everywhere. My point on this kind of things, you may not experience that, but people experience that. But if you're willing to go through it, it's okay. And we are okay with it. But the only problem that we have is you should not mandate it to anyone. It is very important. And your position is very important. You are appointed by God to be in the positions that you have to protect your people. I know your position is great, probably the financial is important for you, but I think it's beyond that. It is about human life. Please consider that. And also, there is more other things that is happening that the sisters early on brought it up in regard into the video. And I don't know if we do have more time on that, but if we do, let me show it to you what is happening even further. I don't know, I think I do not have the times in here, but if you want it, then I can just give you guys notes that. Let me see, I prepare it, but somehow it slipped on here. So one more time, I was asking you that please use your positions to protect your people. Thank you.
The next speaker is Daniel Robles, followed by Edward Gonzalez, followed by Jessica Morganson.
Good evening, guys. How you doing? My name is Daniel Robles. I'm coming twofold, one as an educator and one as a parent. I thank God every single day I wake up. I have a wonderful, wonderful place to work, and that's the Chino Valley Unified School District. I've been at the school for 18 years, and I love every single piece of it. Lord only knows what I may not have a job in the future because it's my choice to get vaccinated or not. And I love these kids. I've poured my heart into these kids, anywhere from the English learner that I taught for 10 years, all the way to the athlete that I coach football here, all the way to the Christian club that I'm in charge of that as well. I have poured a lot into these kids. And I look at this non-discrimination statement that was put out by Chino Valley Unified School District that says, the Chino Valley Unified School District desires to provide a safe school environment that allows all students equal access and opportunities in the district's academic, extracurricular, and other educational support programs, services, and activities. And if you read it, it talks about religion, which is a choice, sexual orientation, which is a choice, gender identity, which is a choice, gender expression, we know that's a choice, and also unvaccinated and vaccinated, which is a choice. And those kids, and sometimes I see these kids, I walk around and they're putting the mask like I'm going to do something, like they feel they have to have it on or something's going to happen to them outside. And I pray for those kids that God gives them the strength to not be afraid. You know what I'm saying? And then I come as a teacher. I waited all this time for my son to be here. He's a football player. He does a lot of stuff here. And he asked me, Dad, if I don't get it, I'm going to have to be at school. I said, no, we're going to keep fighting the good fight. Good and faithful servant. But we're going to keep going and going until my decision is to vaccinate my son or not. And I thank God that God has given me that desire and the obligation to protect my son, my daughter, and the rest of these kids here at Don Lugo High School. I have been a teacher and I love it. I have great reviews from my peers, from my assistant principal, from my principal. I've had immaculate reviews, evaluations, but I hope that not being vaccinated doesn't make me a bad teacher. I hope it makes me a person they can see that stood up for the truth. And Mr. Robles is a great example to a lot of these kids. Amen.
The next speaker is Edward Gonzalez, followed by Jessica Morganson, followed by Oscar Avila. Edward Gonzalez. Jessica Morganson.
He's coming up, Pat.
Hey, how's it going, board? I was here last time. I used one of your board members as my, I remember you. What's up, brother? For playing with his mask. For y'all that know me, my name is Edward Gonzalez. I'm not only a parent, my son's a senior who's missed like 2 weeks of school because he had a runny nose, no fever. You know, 10 days minimum, unless you come with a PCR test. And again, I'm going to bring up the PCR test because I know a lot of these people right here are bringing up these different facts. And the CDC itself, again, says that the PCR tests are faulty. December 31st is going to be the date where they pull them all. And I'll bet you $100, all of a sudden you're going to start seeing the flu cases fly through the roof and the COVID cases fall. You know, I don't know any of you people here, so it's nothing personal. And I thank you, though, for those who were involved with the release time, that we're back in school. I'm a teacher at Glenmead. I drive the bus. I'm interacting with the children, so it's so awesome to see these kids. It's so sad to see when you see some of these kids walking down from school and they're by themselves out in the open fresh air, and there they are with their masks. That what the representative was talking about, the mental health service, that's huge because this whole thing is going to be very detrimental to these children. What was it, Dr. Renfield last year was saying that more children were dying of suicide than actual COVID. Not just children, but adults, everybody. And I would just hope, again, it's just about free choice, man. I'm not here to say, don't wear a mask, wear a mask. Like I told you before, I'm a licensed contractor. I had a double respirator, which works with microns. Those things wouldn't work against viruses. They just don't. Okay, but hey, if you want to wear them, that's fine. That's fine. That's your choice. This is America. Likewise, you want to get vaccinated, go for it. I know they do the stats about the measles and blah, 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 this and that. Cool. Last time when I got it or when my kids got it and anybody got it, we don't ever have to worry about getting the measles or the mumps or anything because those vaccines worked. Okay? And it's kind of interesting because we're talking a lot about money right now. You know, there's thousands of Americans, first responders, doctors, teachers, nurses. Just the other day, the the police department in Seattle and the firefighters leaving their boots and their hats on the ground. These people are ready to give everything, give it all up, okay? And my question is, I hope you guys are willing to give it up as well, because if you're going to have this cavalier attitude and just follow blindly mandates, well, just be prepared, because there's consequences. And there's a group of parents out in Clark County in Nevada who set the example. They just dished out a $200 million lawsuit to all the board members. Remember, you guys aren't doctors. You may have a doctor, but you're just a doctor on paper. You're not a real medical doctor. And you guys are dealing with issues that are going to have medical effects for the children.
Time.
Keep that in mind.
Jessica Morganson. Jessica Morganson, followed by Oscar Avila, followed by Daniela Bland. Jessica Morganson. Oscar Avila. Oscar Avila. It's right there.
All right. Good evening, board members. President Schaefer took off. I want to talk to him real quick, but I'll catch him. Okay. My name is Oscar, and this is my daughter. It's grown. The group has grown. You guys know that it's growing, and it's not going to get any smaller. And we're getting our wind under our wings, and we're getting our sails nice and puffed up. But I'm a parent, and I know that we're talking about the mandates that the governor has promised, our great and omnipotent governor. But what I'm saying is a mandate is not a law. A mandate is an executive order. So you could have another guy come in and take it. So I would say if you want to make vaccines mandatory, put a bill, make it a law. Let's do a vote. Let's do it that way, the way we always do it in America. Because what it is you're talking about taking away somebody's rights without their okay. Remember, this is a country that was founded on freedoms, First Amendment, speech, due process. There's no due process. I mean, we're going through the motions here, and you guys have the power and the right to fight for us because you were elected. And like everybody say, if you go against the wishes of the parents, you're done. You're done. Everybody here will fight anybody that runs against you. Anybody, and Schaefer's gone. He's gone. But in reality, there's something. I really wish he was here. There's something they call the 14th Amendment, right? And there's a ratification of the Constitution, right? And it says, no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process, right, of law, nor deny any person within the jurisdictions the operation of the law. So when you tell my kids that unless you get vaccinated by a jab that they don't need, kids are healthy, they're young, they're vibrant, if you're telling them, if you don't do this, you can't go to school anymore, or you got to go to school somewhere else, that's segregation. That's racism, So anybody here, right, anybody here that says that it's okay for you to tell my kid, right, that she can't go to school because she doesn't have a shot, you're being a racist. Bottom line. And I will say that, so anybody that wants to take your job, I'll say you're being a racist because this person did not fight for her, right? It's because we wanted to say no to a jab. Now, if we wait years from now and maybe the jab is okay and everybody loves it, yeah, fine, But it's new, and there's effects. And we're hearing news from other countries that they're banning the jabs, right? And right now in Europe, they're already on the 4th jab. There's a new virus called the NU strain. What's next? Come on, we're on strain number 4 now. So be careful. Don't do that because Schaefer, I missed you. I'll see you in 2 weeks or next week actually. But what it is somebody's got to fight for our kids.
Time.
The next speaker is Daniela Bland, followed by Jade Reese, followed by Trina Tudrick.
Hello, my name is Daniela Bland. I've lived in Chino Hills my whole life. My kids are students in the district. I'm also a teacher, and I know firsthand how devastating the lockdowns were for kids. Thankfully, we've been back since March, and it's been going well, besides the stupid, annoying mask mandates that are just ridiculous. And the funny thing is, the only people who have been getting sick at school have been the vaccinated teachers. And they think they're invincible, but whatever. And if it comes down to it, and the teachers are mandated, of course I'm going to have to do it because I don't have the luxury to quit. I don't have the luxury to not work. However, I will fight to the end for my kids. It's my choice to vaccinate them. I will not let my kids be test dummies. And before anyone says again, if you don't like it, homeschool your kids. That is literally one of the most racist and discriminatory comments ever. I teach in a very low-income neighborhood, and some of my parents are less educated than their children, and they cannot homeschool. So for them to be forced to homeschool is ridiculous. It is the most racist and elitist comment ever said, and I won't even point out who usually says it. And I also want to point something out. If you don't have a kid in our district, you need to sit this one out, because these are my kids. If you don't have a kid that goes to school here, just shut it, because it's not your choice. Hold on, I'm a little passionate. Okay, hold on. That racist comment just drives me absolutely nuts. And you know darn well the politicians will get around it. They won't vaccinate their kids. They'll find a loophole. It'll just be us peons that have to vaccinate our children. The rules will only apply to us. There are no danger for our children with COVID. And I already talked about that. You don't have a right to say something if you don't have kids in the district. The vaccines we agreed to, by the way, they always say, oh, we do vaccines all the time. Well, guess what? I gave my kid the polio vaccine. He's not going to get polio. Points made. There's no comparison. Stop with comparing the two. I gave him the measles. He's not going to get measles. We give him the COVID vaccine. They can still get COVID. So stop. And I beg of you to please fight this mandate, because it's not a law. It's a mandate. We have to do something. Stand up for what's right, or you'll fall for anything.
The next speaker is Jade Reese. Jade Reese, followed by Trina Tudrick, followed by Mike Cargile.
Hello, hola, ¿cómo estás? I'm glad to be here this evening. I want to say thank you for giving honor to our flag. I was thinking about the Lord and how good He is. So I want to give Him props too as well. As I hold this $1 bill here, there's something on here. There's 3 words that says, "In God we trust." In God we trust. And I just want to encourage each and every one here to trust in the Lord, because God is good and His promises never fail. He says in His words, He says, let the children come to me. And I want to say that I don't live in Chino. I don't live in San Bernardino County, but I do go to Calvary as of when the church is closed down. So Pastor Jack Hibbs encouraged us to come tonight and talk to you guys about some things. So my thing is, I want to share a little story with you. I'm wearing this love shirt for a reason. A few years ago, my husband passed. It was very sudden. He was not sick. So every year, my children and I, we go do certain things that he loved to do. He liked chicken, so we said, let's go get some chicken. So my daughter and I were standing outside on the sidewalk trying to get it, but we were not wearing a mask, so they decided to not serve us. But the sign says, once you go inside the building. We were not inside, we were outside the building. And then, so I'm disappointed, but finally we get our things. A homeless lady comes right on after us, and she has her little blue mask pulled down. By the way, I do have a degree in healthcare administration, and I worked in the hospitals for over 14 years in ICU and respiratory care. And these things, it's true. I think some people use it for a safety net or for fear, or they just saying, we're just going to go with the flow because it makes life easier. And I give, credit, I guess, for that. I know some people are fearful. But getting back to the story in regards to not being served there, 2 days ago I went to Santa Barbara, and right away, it was just a spur-of-the-moment trip. I walk in the hotel to get myself a room. I was thrown out because why? I did not have a mask. I refused to wear a mask in that particular lobby. The attendant did not have a mask either. So I'm like, okay, so this is sort of like discrimination. That's what I feel. So another incident where what happened where at a store and the same thing. The point I'm making is that this is not just about wearing a mask, it's about control, and we got to do something to stand up for our children so that they can grow up in a life that they're happy and they're pleased, have joy in their hearts, and do the things that they want to do, rather than want to travel or play sports or not be affected by drugs. So I'm asking you, I'm imploring you guys to please pray. Pray tonight or whenever before you make this decision, orando por favor en el Dios. Is this something that you want me to do? If not, show me right now and make the decision.
The next speaker is Tina Trudrick, followed by Mark Cargyle, followed by Eric Hernandez. Trina Trudrick. Mike Cargyle.
Good evening, board. My name is Mike Cargyle. I am the the congressional candidate to Congress for this area. You guys are in my district. I wasn't surprised to see mental health as your number 2 issue, because most of the policies of this board and this county are responsible for those mental health issues. We don't need more counselors. We need to change how you do business. I'm reminded of something my old pastor used to say. He used to say, if you knew what a doctor knows, you would be a doctor. If you know what a lawyer knows, you would be a lawyer. When a child knows what an adult knows, they're no longer a child. You have robbed them of their childhood. You have placed poisonous adult thoughts into their minds that are incapable of processing these adult thoughts. You have destroyed them. Now, the problem here is they are incapable of processing this. And your mandate as board members is to safeguard our children. I had 2 children recently graduate from Ayala High School. Your mandate is to safeguard their intelligence, their emotions, their psychology, and their physical well-being. And you have failed miserably on all fronts. Okay? But here's the good news. Today is the first day of the rest of your political life. Okay? I urge you, take this mandate, place it in the forefront of your mind, and every decision you make from this point going forward is only for the good. It is only for the betterment and the safety of our children. Thank you.
Eric Hernandez. Eric Hernandez. Lee Guerva.
Good evening, board members. My name is Lee Genvier, resident of Chino Hills, taxpayer, and I'm glad that some of my taxes are going to take care of some of these teachers that have gotten up here tonight and speaking about this. In my Constitution classes over the years, and I continue to go take them, the president and the governor are not kings. They do not get to do mandates. These are edicts. They do not get to pass down edicts from up high. They should pass bills through the Senate and through the Congress and through our state assembly and our state Senate. President Biden talks about how he's getting a little frustrated and upset that things aren't moving along, but he needs to be reminded that he needs to pass a bill or get a bill passed. As of the first month, January 20th, we had 250,000 people who died of COVID and COVID-related items. Since then, we're up to 700,000. So now, since the vaccine is out, we're up to 450,000 more deaths. More than 3/4 of the COVID deaths in Vermont are among the fully vaccinated for the month of September. Whistleblowers. Now, everybody made a big fuss when Major Vindman, I think it was, with the Army, came out as a whistleblower. Well, the whistleblowers that are giving Project Veritas are giving us a lot of good information. The CDC and the FDC won't admit it, but 90% of COVID patient hospitalizations are truly running at 90% of the fully vaccinated. There's a little town in Ireland called Waterford. You might be familiar with their crystal work. 99.7% of their fully vaccinated are seeing massive COVID outbreaks. These people are following the law, following the rules, doing what the government says. And when it comes to masks, that is, the young lady was correct. The medical professionals wear N95s. These blue masks are not N95s. I used N95s in my business for asbestos and other things when stripping paint, working on cars, and the like. Those were easily available. They're all tied up now for the medical professionals that our government is now willing to send to the curb because they won't get a vaccination. So I ask you, please, keep this consideration. It is our duty as people of this earth to take care of the widows, the orphans, and the children. Please do not take an edict and make it a mandate for our children in the school system here. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Loretta Creelman. The next speaker is Loretta Creelman, followed by Christina, also followed by Annie E.
Okay, I'm here to discuss a vaccination mandate on our children. Government can serve as an important leadership role, but must take care not to restrict our freedoms in the process. Neither should the government undermine our parental rights. Under these emergency mandates, the government has overreached to assume responsibilities of our bodies. The government's contradicting edicts permit unions to be exempt from these mandates, but who serves the voice and advocate of our children's behalf? Our children are not wards of the state, yet objections to these government mandates would lead to limited access and participation in school, into school itself and school activities. The current CDC statistics confirm deaths ages 0 to 17 accounts for 0.1% of the population in California. The vaccine is widely available and free in the United States. So those who choose to be vaccinated have exercised their rights to choose. I'm here to ask you to remember that equal liberties for those who choose not to be vaccinated. It's a medical decision that is up to the individual to make. It's no different than a person declining to take medication prescribed by their doctor. You assume the risk, but it's your decision. You are not denied liberties because of the decision. So what happens to someone who has taken the vaccine and suffers an adverse reaction? Who's responsible? Current data indicates that the risk and benefit decision of our children related to the COVID vaccine significantly are skewed to the risk side of the equation. If the government does not assume the responsibility, then is this board willing to do so? As school board members, you are entrusted to protect the students in this school district. You should be nurturing education, not assuming expertise in healthcare and wellness. If that were the case, there would be more progress made in addressing mental illness in our teenagers. So I stand instead of being silent. I hope these words do not fall on deaf ears. And as far as a mandate on these masks, I'm a nurse. I was a nurse, a retired nurse of 42 years. These masks do no more than try to stop a BB with a chain link fence. This will not stop a virus. I have gone through the AIDS epidemic, Ebola, and have not seen the restrictions that they have placed on such a stupid COVID. We have had COVID for centuries. This is COVID-19, which means it was preceded by 18. So nothing has had the effect that they have on this. This is all restrictions of our liberties.
Next speaker is Christina Also, followed by Annie Oy.
You say this first speaker again, please?
Christina Osso. OSSO. Okay, and then Annie Oy. Annie O.
I'm not going to speak again because I spoke already, but I want to give my time to the doctor. Please continue. I had my mom's friend that had to leave, so I fill out their time. So, or anybody that got cut off, please. Do you wanna finish?
I really didn't have much more. I mean, there's so many passionate parents here. I like to say that I've lost some patients in the last 6 months. So have my colleagues to COVID, getting the jab and all of a sudden a heart attack here and there. It's not a coincidence. And it's going to happen more and more. It's just a matter of time. So this is wonderful that we all get to speak our mind and have the freedom to express our experiences. And my boys have graduated already. I'm doing this for the children of all my patients and I see all the parents here in this, and I'm doing this for you. Not much more to say, but I really hope that we're just open-minded and our hearts are open to really hear what every person is expressing here as they come up here. Realize this, I wanted to finish this, is that once there's a damage to the heart cell and it's replaced with scar tissue, it's damaged forever. And the same thing goes for all the other cells. And what happens when this inflammation happens, hyperinflammation, and blood clots keep occurring to the other organs? Then you got your liver, your brain, your kidney, your reproductive organs. It's just a matter of time. It's going to consume the health of every child. So what we have to ask ourselves is, what are we going to do? Are we going to do what's right or wrong for our future generation? Thank you.
The next speaker is a student by the name of Dallas Mangold.
One more time, Pat.
Student Dallas Mangold.
Hi, I'm Dallas Mangold. I'm Dallas Mangold. I'm a freshman at Ayala High School, and I'm one of many kids that know the issues involved in mandating. I've learned in history class that we the people choose what is best for us and the country. We the people know our rights. We know these mandates are unlawful against our constitutional and natural rights. We the people know what's up. We the people know the truth behind the vaccines and mandates, and we will stay true to our beliefs. No higher-ups will tell us how to live. This isn't what America is. We fought against it. The American Revolution was what it was. And we will fight at all costs to make sure it doesn't come back. I'm only a kid, so my voice doesn't matter. But these parents here will fight for me to make my voice heard to all of you. Thank you.
Sean E. Sean E., followed by James Reed. James Reed. Ann Hinn. Ann Hinn. Mike Cervantes. Mike Cervantes.
Dallas, your voice matters. Absolutely. As well as the rest of the students. Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Cervantes, and I would like to thank all of you for representing our district as members of this board. Thank you. My wife and I have lived in this community for the last 30 years, where our son and daughter have gone to school, and as for my wife, she just retired from the school district. Currently, our daughter is an elementary school teacher in this district, and I, after a career in law enforcement, have been a substitute teacher exclusively in this district for about the past 5 years. This community is very important to our family, especially the children of this community. I am here to state my opposition to any present or future mandate requiring all employees and students to receive COVID-19 gene therapy. According to the CDC, it is both those who have received and have not received this therapy who are able to both contract and transmit COVID-19. This therapy has not gone through the years of trial as compared to the time-tested vaccines required for children to attend school. Included among our rights endowed by our Creator are the freedoms to make personal choices about what goes into our own bodies, as well as those of our own children, for whom we are held responsible and for whom we must give an account to the Lord Jesus Christ. Sorry, I'm old school here. Therefore, I am imploring each of you to faithfully and dutifully represent all members of this school district by opposing these mandates and thereby defending our medical freedoms. Personal health is not subject to any mandate. This is the one and only right thing to do. For such a time as this, you will either be known as leaders who do what is right or as followers of what is wrong. And so therefore I am urging you to please do what is right. Thank you very much.
Jake Anderson, followed by Victor Mendoza, followed by Richard Rodriguez.
Good evening, school board. My name is Jake Anderson, and I'm here tonight to beg you to oppose the governor's harsh vaccine mandate that is being forced upon our children. I was born and raised in Chino. My roots run deep here. I attended Cattle, Rhodes, Magnolia, and Chino High School. I can honestly say my years of going through CVUSD have not only provided me with some of the best memories, but an incredible educational experience that has opened up so many doors and so many opportunities for me. Fast forward, now I'm a husband. I'm a second-generation firefighter, and most importantly, I'm a father. I once thought my son would attend CVUSD schools just like I did. I envisioned him making the same memories on my old stomping grounds. However, if this board votes tonight to strip parents of their rights over our children's medical decisions and force this vaccine mandate, then the choice to send my son to another district that values parental rights is so easy. As a parent, it is my right to decide what is in the best medical interest of my son. I'm not anti-vaccine, but I ask myself these questions in regards to any vaccine that my son should get. Number one, does he even need it? Number two, is it safe? And number three, does it even work? As the protectors of our son's well-being, my wife and I have the responsibility of gathering as much information as we can, obtain professional advice, seeking God's guidance through prayer, and then we choose what we believe is the right decision for our son. I will not allow the government or school district, for that matter, to coerce, threaten, or push their political agenda upon my son. It is clear to me that this is an attack on families, which is, in my opinion, is worse than the actual virus itself. So how could we ask God to bless our country, our state, or city if we don't start here right now? I'm sorry, God have mercy on us for what is being imposed upon these innocent ones. Shame on me if I don't stand up for our freedoms while I still can. I will not be able to look my son and wife in their eyes and tell them, as a spiritual leader of our home, that I did everything I could to fight these mandates. So I'm begging you, please, have the courage to oppose these relentless mandates and put medical freedom back into the hands of parents. Please stand with us, and we will stand with all of you. Allow CVUSD to be a beacon of hope, and a light to the rest of our surrounding communities. Let it start here right now, right now. Come on, let's go tonight. Thank you.
The next speaker is Victor Mendoza, followed by Richard Rodriguez, followed by Sofia Rodriguez.
Hello, everybody. So I had a lot to say, and there was a lot of great speakers tonight that kind of spoke for me, so I appreciate all the great notes they set forth. It's kind of ridiculous that we're sitting here having this conversation about our kids. It really is utterly unbelievable that we'd be in a conversation about the health and well-being of our children while the school board sits up there denying its role in protecting the children. Because basically that's where we're at. There's been a denial by this board to protect our children from an edict by a governor who has no ability and no right to do what he did. These unauthorized state of emergencies by the CDPH, from 15 days to flatten the curve to a year and 8 months later, are based on what science? We want to talk about masks. In 2018, the CDC itself said these stupid little paper masks were useless for viral infections. The CDC, it takes a few minutes to Google it. Everybody knows how to use Google. Just try it once in a while. So we talk about these companies, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson. Pfizer's paid out the highest liability claim in medical, or in actually governmental history. $2.8 billion it paid for lying and deceiving its clients and its information it was sharing about people, or its results on drugs. You talk about the FDA and how the FDA is the guide to what we should and shouldn't be doing. Every year there's over 800 drugs administered by the FDA that are then removed for faulty efficacies, for side effects, for other issues that they create. 800 a year. Once again, it's pretty easy to Google if you'd like to. So what I would ask is that when you're thinking about what actions you can take, it's not about what your board, the school district, it's about what you as an individual are choosing to do, what's right for people, what's right for children. That's the choice you have to make. It's not about a job, it's not about a salary, it's not about your future as a board member, because trust me, name recognition is not going to save you 2022. I guarantee you that. Enough people here vote based on what they saw last year and everything going by, but that will not protect you in this next go-around, especially you, Mr. Schaefer. It's ridiculous to say that you are somebody who's here to help, but then you twist and turn your words to basically make it suitable for whoever the audience is. So each one of you need to make a decision, because all of you are replaceable. Thank you, Mr. Cruz and Mr. Na.
The next speaker is Richard Rodriguez, followed by Sofia Rodriguez, followed by Michael Altamirano. Richard Rodriguez. Sofia Rodriguez. Sofia Rodriguez. Michael Altamirano. Michael Altamirano. Janet Zimmerman. Janet Zimmerman. Christina Mooney.
Good evening. My name is Christina. I am a CVUSD alumni parent, grandparent, taxpayer, and employee. I have served in this district as a release time Christian educator teacher for our elementary schools. I have served numerous hours volunteering in the band program and in my kids' classrooms. And now I'm an employee. I stand here today with my boots on the ground. I stand for like-minded coworkers, parents, students, and my grandkids, my future. I stand for my freedom to choose my religion, my freedom to choose my career, my freedom to choose whom I vote for, and my freedom to choose my health. For the last 18 months, I have complied to wear a mask under the CDC guidelines, not laws. And last week, I began compliance with testing. Days before the testing, I learned that employees are able to test outside of our sites with our primary doctors. In no email from the district was that an option. It was information I found on my own. No need to give a third party my private information. Where is Color Labs located anyway? No need to have a test passed through several hands before I got my results. And nothing to fear in chemical contents on a swab. The district is receiving millions of dollars at the expense of taxpayers over this pandemic. And this district, the one I choose to enroll my children in, the city I chose to pay taxes in, and the site I adore to work at day and night, and sometimes weekends because that's my work ethic, the job I absolutely love, the retirement I have worked hard to receive, the district that will flick me to the curb over a vaccine that results in many complications. I will stand my ground. Faith over fear.
The next speaker is Heather De Lorenzo, followed by Michael Partida, followed by Nicole Vicario. Heather De Lorenzo.
Can you restart the time? Because I'm going to need every minute or second of it. Can you restart the time? Because I'm going to need every second of it because it turned green before I was talking. I grew up and have been a part of this district for my entire K through 12 education. My children now attend the same elementary school that I went to. As a family, we worked very hard to get a home by their elementary school to ensure my children would attend here as well. In addition, I am an adjunct professor at Mount Sac, so you can see my ties in our local community run deep. However, I'm completely appalled by how we as families are being represented, or should I say not represented, by our school board. After watching how our kids and schools have been handled since the start of COVID, I'm trying to figure out if you are spineless in your decisions for our children, or if you're driven by obligation to pacify the CTA, who has long been in bed with Newsom and his erroneous mandates. As elected officials, you work for us, and it is your duty to stand for the best interests of our children. Treating our children as a science experiment is not in their best interest and is dangerous. Creating segregation in our schools by denying our kids the right to an in-person education if we don't treat them like a science experiment is willful abuse. The choice to vaccinate our children is our choice as parents and not anyone in the government. The government does not belong in the decisions we as parents make for our children's health care. You are all paid by us, and you're all put in place to work for us, something Gavin Newsom also forgets. The mandate to force vaccinate our children as young as 5 is not about health or protection, so we can stop pretending on that now. With the vaccine, you can still get COVID, give COVID, and die from COVID. The Moderna vaccine has just been recently banned in all the Nordic countries for people under 30 due to complications and a rising rate of myocarditis. In the last few months, multiple scientists from Pfizer and Johnson & Johnson made the following statements in regards to their vaccines, as well as children receiving a vaccine. Nick Carl, scientist at Pfizer, so your antibodies are probably better at that point than vaccination. Brandon Schott, Johnson & Johnson Regional Business Lead. It's a kid. You just don't do that, you know. Not something that's so unknown in terms of repercussions down the road, you know. Kids shouldn't get a bleeping COVID vaccine. Justin Durant, scientist at Johnson & Johnson, referring to if children are unvaccinated to COVID, it wouldn't make that much of a difference. Since the start of COVID, 26 children in California ages 5 to 17 have terribly lost their lives due to COVID. However, these children also had underlying health conditions. California has close to 9 million children. Overall, children are not significantly affected from COVID and have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than dying from COVID. To mandate children receive this vaccine with no long-term studies to a group who has very minimal threat is not at all about their health and all about government control and power. You need to let the state and Mr. Newsom know you support our choice as parents to make the vaccination decisions for our children, and you will not support segregating our kids for the health choices, especially for a vaccine that we have no clue as to what the short-term and long-term effects are. If you cannot stand for us as parents, you have no choice in this matter. You do not represent the families or students of this district and should resign from your post. I'll leave you with this quote from Thomas Jefferson.
Time. Time.
The next speaker is Michael Partita, followed by Nicole Vicario, followed by Cindy Foisey.
Good evening. I'm here to ask you a question that I want everyone in this room to think about. What's more important, science or virtue? Science or virtue? You see, I like science. I think we all like science, and we have fun with it. But science should never replace virtue. I need to speak to you about the inconvenient truth. Today we have people, including this school board, the governor of California, the president of the United States, that have forgotten that this country was founded on we the people, not for the people. The inconvenient truth is we have unvirtuous leaders who are abusing their power, mandates of masks, mandates of vaccines, and we know it's all coming, mandates for teachers who take care of our kids, and that is unacceptable. You see, science can bring a sense of strength, virtue, and have a claim to rule, but it does not necessarily bring either kindness or civilization. Winston Churchill. These mandates are causing a great divide, not only in this nation, even in this city. Currently, we have these mask mandates, a civil rights issue, and to restore the rights of the parents, you must have moral and intellectual courage. I'm asking, does this board have moral and intellectual courage to fight for our students, to fight for the parents, to fight for free choice? It's about virtue, okay? See, it doesn't bother me if you want to wear a mask, wear 5 masks, get a shot today, get a shot 6 months, get a shot 10 years. I don't care. So what is virtue, you might ask? It's courage, morality, strength, compassion, and fairness. School board, this is your moment in time to make things right. We need wiser guidance, not people unmoored from reality, unmoored from truth, unmoored from virtue. Parents, nobody's going to save you. No one's going to give you your freedoms back unless you speak up, gather today, and even run for school board. Lastly, quote by Edmund Burke, "The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing." There is a reason why hundreds and hundreds of parents are attending school boards. It's because we are realizing that science is taking our rights away. Thank you.
The next speaker is Nicole Vicario, followed by Cindy Foisey, followed by Laura Kearns.
Good evening. My name is Nicole Vicario. I'm a staff member in this district, but before that, I'm a parent. In 2012, AB 2109 started asking parents to sign a form acknowledging they were opting out of vaccines and understood the consequences of not. In 2015, a simple form turned into "Look how many parents are opting out," which turned into 2015's SB 277, removing available non-medical exemptions for children. SB 277 made the CDC childhood recommended vaccine schedule mandatory for school entry, meaning that any time a vaccine was added to the schedule as a recommendation, this would become mandatory. SB 276 retroactively changed the qualifications for medical exemptions, removing severe side effects and contraindications that previously would have qualified a child for a medical exemption. Created a standardized form that would require not just your doctor, but a health department's approval. Required these forms be submitted to the state presumably for the data. Today we are setting the precedent for generations to come. Do you know that with absolute certainty that this won't affect your family in some negative way in the future? Will you comply with every booster shot in order to stay fully vaccinated? Will your job and your child's education be at risk once you're sick and tired of complying? Is it just this shot? How many more after this? Those of us that have been fighting for freedom understand that one day it may be us that needs someone to stand up for us, and we stand for choice. I am not willing to set my kids on fire to make a bunch of adults comfortable. I dislike the term anti-vaxxer because I trusted my child's doctor. I trusted science until I didn't. I have watched my own child suffer for many years as a direct result of a vaccination I took him to get. I pray that never happens to one of your children, but until it does, you will never understand where we are coming from. Fight for our children. Do what you were elected to do, because if you don't, we the people will. Thank you.
The next speaker is Cindy Foisey, followed by Laura Kearns, followed by Derek East.
Hello. This still is America. Land of the free, home of the brave. This represents our freedom. We are founded on law. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights are God-given rights. They afford us, we the people, to choose what we put into our bodies and the bodies of our children. No one legally has the right to lie, intimidate, coerce, or force any investigational, experimental vaccine on we the people. It is our choice. Each individual in this country has the right to understand and to give informed consent. If we lose on this vaccine, we will completely lose the right to sovereignty over our bodies and the bodies of our children. There is no such thing as freedom if we are not free to determine what is and is not injected into us. This is anti-American, and this is my truth. You know it's fraud when our rights have to be destroyed to force it on us. It's common sense. By the way, what happened to the HIPAA law, which protects our medical privacy? Is this just another law that government is stomping on? What's the next thing the government thinks it has a right to? This is no longer about our health. It is for control over us. We all have different reasons to reject this vaccine mandate, from religious to natural immunity to our own health reasons, to whom COVID harms the most, and it is not our children. Statistics prove this. Follow all the science, not just hand-picked government scientists. We, the parents, grandparents, family, are in charge of our children, not the despicable, corrupt government and their associates we now have. Be informed, follow the law based on our rights, and be advocates for our children, not for the tyrannical government who are using our tax dollars against us. Fight this illegal and unethical vaccine mandate and any other COVID mandate with all the tools you have. I plead, be a lion, stand up. I will close with a quote from Booker T. Washington. Listen carefully, for this is so true at this time. A lie does not become truth. Wrong does not become right. Evil does not become
Time.
just because it is accepted by a majority.
The next speaker is Laura Kearns, followed by Derek East, followed by Daniel Barroso.
Good evening, board members, Dr. Enfield, and Mr. Schaefer.
First, I would like to thank you for continuing to show up for our kids. With as hard as it is for me to stand here and speak up for kids across this district, I know it is one of the most difficult times to be a board member for you. The weight of the decisions continuing to bombard you likely keeps you up at night, as it does for us parents as well. Second, I would like to give you a little info about me. I'm a nurse experienced in many different areas, 16 specialties to be exact, including but not limited to vaccine clinics and infectious disease. Lastly, the COVID vaccine mandate. As a nurse, I know this is not a school board issue. This is a medical decision. Seeing as how our children are under the age of 18, this is a medical decision which should be reached between the student, their parent, and their doctor as to whether they think the COVID vaccine is right for them. If your child comes to me to get vaccinated, I do not seek consent from their school board to vaccinate them. I seek consent from their parent or legal guardian. The vaccine mandate is complete overreach by our governor, putting you, the school board, in a very precarious position. I'm not here to tell you or anyone else to get the vaccine or not, as you have likely made that decision for yourself already. Should you decide to require this vaccine for on-campus learning, many parents will then be forced into giving this vaccine to their children. Medical and religious exemptions will still not allow children on campus. Not many people have the option to permanently homeschool or place their child in distance learning due to lack of supervision. We're not asking for anything more than the school board to stand behind us, to maybe push the deadlines of when the vaccines are due, and to ask for exemptions more than what they're already allowing. I already spoke with Mr. Schaefer about this at the roundtable meeting, but I would like to propose the board coordinate a survey asking parents if they will continue to send their student to school should the vaccine mandate come to fruition, as this mandate will have huge implications for the district, rearranging funding, staffing, resources, and even necessitate reinstating a distance learning program. I have contacted my local representatives, and I encourage everyone else to do the same. Please let us make this medical decision for our own families. Thank you.
The next speaker is Derek East, followed by Daniel Barrazo, followed by Courtney Jacques.
Hi, my name is Daniel Barroso. I'm a city resident of Chino. My daughter goes to Ayala High School. I'm also a CSEA union member. Also, my job is on the line. I'd like to read to you out of the book of Psalm 78. In part, give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works that he has done. For he has established a testimony in Jacob and appointed a law in Israel, which he commanded our fathers, that they should make them known to their children, that the generation to come might know them, the children who would be born, that they may arise and declare them to their children, that they may set their hope in God and not forget the works of God, but keep his commandments, and may not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation, a generation that did not set its heart aright, and whose spirit was not faithful to God. You see, I've taught my 3 children to obey God. I've taught my 3 children to obey me and their mother. I've taught my children to obey their elders. I've taught my children to obey their teachers as well. But today what I'm here to tell you is that we've put you on notice as far as your political careers, but what I'd like to do is put you on notice with the Lord God Almighty. Because at the end of all of our lives, we stand before judgment. Now, my name may be or may not be on a vaccinated or unvaccinated list, but my name is in the Lamb's Book of Life, and that I have citizenship in heaven. And so my notice to you, to some of the board members I understand already believe in the Lord Jesus Christ, to you who do not, I give you this opportunity. We serve a God who is vengeful. We serve a God who vindicates. We serve a God who will recompense. Now, the scripture has been said that you might as well put a millstone around your neck and throw yourself in the deepest part of the ocean than to hurt one of these children. By being complicit, by not doing what you're supposed to do and stand up for our children, that is what could happen. Otherwise, but the other option is that we serve a God who is full of grace, love, and mercy. And you have the opportunity to bow your knee now, ask for repentance, and the Lord will accept you. If you do not do that, you will harden your heart. God will allow you to harden your heart, and the judgment will come upon you. So I'm putting you on notice tonight that you need to repent.
The next speaker is Brooklyn Mangold, followed by Courtney Jacques, followed by Julie Hermagino.
Hello, board members. My name is Brooklyn Mangold, a seventh grade student at Canyon Hills Junior High. I speak my voice tonight because it hurts to bite my tongue. I am here to please ask you to let me choose what goes into my body, my choice, right? I've always been taught to fight for what's right, and that's what we're all here doing. It's selfish for you to choose what goes into my body. I had a hard time during distance learning, and I'm not up to it for doing the rest of my school years. I'll definitely need your mental health classes. I'll miss so much. I already have. I missed my 6th grade year. I fell behind learning because learning through the internet is not how I learn. My brain doesn't work that way. I will stand up for my rights, however long it takes. I'm not scared to fight for myself, and the people here will fight for my rights too. I hope you will do the same. Thank you.
The next speaker is Courtney Jacques, followed by Julie Hermagino, followed by Catherine.
Excuse me, Pat, one quick thing before we continue. It is past 9 o'clock now, so I just need consensus to continue per board policy.
We have a consensus? I have consensus. Yes.
Very good. Please, ma'am.
Good evening. We recognize that you as a board are up for a large battle in the months to come, and we know that you have 2 choices. One is to choose the battle that is the right thing to do and to stand up to the state against their ridiculous mandate. And this will not be easy, but as you've seen tonight, there is an army of us here tonight that will join you in the battle. We may seem like a small pebble in a big state, but we can be the pebble that takes down the giant. Our passionate and dedicated families will support you and fight alongside you and do all we can every step of the way to support you guys. We do not want to pull our kids from the district. Let me repeat that. We do not want to pull our kids from the district. We love our schools, but if we can't count on you to protect our kids and respect our personal medical decisions, then you leave us no choice but to pull our kids to protect them. Which brings me to your second choice, to take a stand against parents' freedom of choice, which would be terrible. And don't get me wrong, you will still face a battle, but it will start on the day that our kids are no longer allowed on your school campuses. The battle will be the future of this district in a wake of so much loss. You will lose teachers, countless students, but you will also lose a lot of helpers. I know that a lot of people have had to go home, but in this audience, you have Fall Festival chairmen, book fair volunteers, booster club parents, school site representatives, room parents, PTA members, noon aides, classroom helpers, staff members, coaches, fundraisers, all passionate and all available and all invested in making this district as great as it is and has been. You will lose all of us. You will fight the battle without our encouragement, our help, and our unwavering dedication. The battle is yours for the choosing. Stand up now. We are begging you, for who knows, you might be in those seats for such a time as this.
Next speaker is Julie Hermagino, followed by Catherine Sawyer, followed by Linda Vargas. Julie Hermagino. Catherine Sawyer. Linda Vargas.
Good evening, parents. As I sat here today and listened to all the parents, and especially the students that were here, it brings me great joy. I am part of K-12 Innovate, which is a global STEAM Academy dual immersion program that we're here to present to the Chino Valley Unified School District. You know, we met with Dr. Enfield, and we were so worried. Well, I was so determined and passionate about our parents and our teachers and the team that we build. And they mentioned that they had such a great parent engagement. And as I sit here, I continue to talk and think about all the wonderful meetings that we've been hosting with families that are interested in our dual language immersion, in meetings that we've been holding for our families, that they would be working together with us. And so we bring this petition to the Chino Valley Unified School District with the hopes and that with the services that we would be able to provide to your families and to those that are still interested. We are hosting meetings. Our parents are engaged. You know, our dual values are determination, understanding, authenticity, and leadership. Those are the things that we want to promote and work together with our families and our students to ensure that they are able to provide and to support the learning that we will be able to provide to our students. Thank you.
The next speaker is Scott Spector, followed by Jamie Valenzuela Muma.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, President Schaefer, Superintendent Enfield, distinguished board members, and valued community voices. We stand here before you, just like Linda just said, as turning in a petition for Global STEAM Academy, a dual immersion charter. And I just want to let you know that this isn't us coming into your district and trying to do anything. This was your community members, of which we have about 300 signatures, that contacted us because they didn't feel that there was something that they wanted or that there was something that was missing within the district. So they had contacted us and said, would you help us put together this school, which is why we're standing here tonight. So while I realize that it may not be as important as some of the other issues here tonight in kids and parents that you're listening to, it does have to do with one thing that has been brought up multiple times tonight, and that is engaging the community. And that's what we're trying to do because they contacted us. Thank you.
Jamie Valenzuela Muma, followed by Caitlin Martinez, followed by Sharon Tagal.
Good evening, President Schaefer, Dr. Enfeld, members of the board, community. My name is Dr. Jamie Valenzuela Muma, and I'm the proud CEO and superintendent of the K-12 Innovate Global STEAM Academy, a charter petition that we are submitting tonight in the Chino Valley Unified School District. It is a pleasure to submit this petition on behalf of the many parents and families who want to exhibit choice, a choice for their children to have an outstanding education where children become the center focus of every decision that is made. This school is a viable choice for parents because the school is formed by the Chino community for the community, led by successful educators from Chino Valley, and in partnership with internationally recognized educational experts with a combined experience of 180 years, where we've met the needs of children with the partnership of our families. Our program will include a Mandarin 50-50 DLI in grades TK through 8, a STEAM focus, social emotional learning, as well as providing for community connections for the success of the whole child and family. We have more than 320 students whose families have identified our charter school as a place they would like to attend. In the spirit of partnership, we intend to work with the district. Our vision is to be a role model DLI STEAM school where children experience opportunities to build their self-esteem, their ability to have choice on how they show what they've learned, and critical thinkers who reflect and have a mindset of I can instead of I can't. We intend to invite the district's teachers and staff to experience our high-quality, research-based professional learning focused on meeting the needs of all children and families. We invite this board to carefully review and consider the approval of Global STEAM Academy at K-12 Innovate School. Again, my name is Dr. Jamie Valenzuela Muma, and I am the proud CEO Superintendent of K-12 Innovate. You can find me at www.k12innovate.org. Thank you.
The next speaker is Caitlin Martinez, followed by Sharon Tegal, followed by Jennifer Rodriguez.
Good evening, morning, what time is it? I don't even know. We told you guys we weren't going away, and look at where we are now. I mean, although you kind of won tonight with your sleazy moves, putting us at the end of the night, and the mask. How'd that work out for you, Schaefer? Not so well. We're done complying. We're not gonna listen anymore. I already pulled my kid this summer, and all the rest of them are probably going to too. You guys are talking about worrying about lawsuits and all the other stuff of the financial aspect. What are you going to do when you lose all of us? How did Monday feel? How much money did you guys lose Monday? Now let's put that on a grand scale. Parents aren't stopping here. You guys pushed too far. We worked with you with the masks, with the distant learning, with all the crazy indoctrination stuff you guys want to push back. Okay, we'll compromise, we'll compromise. We are done compromising. We're taking it back, or we'll take your seat. Infields, give up some of your money, your salary. Make it go towards the lawsuits. We have other districts standing up. Schaefer, you're saying you don't want for us to stand up because we already have other people standing up. Why do we need to? What a cowardly thing to say. We can lead the way. We are a massive district, and we can lead that way. These mandates are not legal. They aren't. I have many attorneys that I know, and I've asked all of them, and you know what they've said? It's kind of a gray area. I'm not really comfortable explaining because I don't really know. It's too new. Well, did you get taught about mandates in law school? And Ganya can probably agree. No, not state. Well, what about federal? No, this is all really, really new. I'm not really comfortable really saying. These are people I know personally, probably about 3 of them that have said this. So when this comes down and we push back and it is proven that these mandates are not law, what side are you going to be on? Our side or the side that's going down? Because we will sue you guys if you don't stand up for us. We will, and we will find the grounds to do it. We won't back down. Our group has been going after you guys for months. Schaefer, and you barely give us an inch. And we asked for a venue change. You won't do it. We got our venue change. Oh, well, we'll just make you at the end of the meeting. These little stunts, these little tactics, instead of working with us, it doesn't help the community. It doesn't help our kids. You want to talk about mental health, yet we have how many social workers in our district? You're getting millions of dollars, and we still only have, what, like 2 licensed therapists? It's a joke. You just want money, 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 and you don't want to spend any to advocate for our kids. So we're going to make you, or you will go and you will be stepped down and we'll take you down. Schaefer, you're almost up. I hope you don't plan on running again because you won't win. We won't let you.
The next speaker is Sharon Tegal, followed by Jennifer Rodriguez, followed by Christina Foley.
I speak as a graduate from Howard Cattle Elementary, Magnolia Junior High, and Ayala High School. I'm a mother, a follower of Jesus Christ, and a licensed clinical social worker. I come before you today to appeal to your reason and to the love I know you have for our children, the 28,000 students of Chino Valley Unified School District. Let's start with some facts. According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, children 17 years old and under have a 99.97% rate of survival without needing any hospitalization or leading to any deaths. This is without the vaccine. Why mandate a vaccine that should be left for the parents to choose without being coerced or bullied into the fear that their children will be discriminated against and not be allowed with their friends and have their education be negatively impacted? Another fact from the CDC.org, the death toll of COVID-19 that's between 0 to 17-year-olds is 542, while the death toll from the flu, the regular flu, between 0 to 17 is 486. That means children have died from the flu every year for decades, yet no one has forced children to be discriminated upon and not be allowed to attend school just because they didn't get the flu vaccine. Why mandate a COVID vaccine that has a very similar death rate as that of the flu for those 17 and under? According to the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System per CDC, between December 2020 and September 2021, 7,899 people have died from getting the COVID vaccine. Also, there's a small percentage of those who develop myocarditis and other more serious side effects. It's only been around for less than a year. It's one thing if I make the choice as a parent, then I bear 100% responsibility for the risks that come with that choice. But another thing, for this vaccine to be forced on my two girls, just so they can get the same opportunity for a good education like everybody else. Will you bear the burden of that responsibility? Should my kids and the 28,000 have the 0.03% that can get that severe adverse impact, that could die? Do you believe in God? Because there is a coming Antichrist who will use force and coercion or else limit people's ability to buy and sell. Coerced vaccine by force is bullying. Spirit of the Antichrist, I believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Where is your allegiance? Your decision to enforce this unlawful mandate that wrongly and justly discriminates will reveal that answer. Please pray about this and choose wisely.
The next speaker is Jennifer Rodriguez, followed by Christina Foley, followed by Jim Gallagher. Jennifer Rodriguez. Christina Foley.
Hello, and thank you for allowing me to speak tonight. My name is Christina Foley, and I am a graduate of Don Lugo. However, I do not live here in this district any longer. I do have my nephews that currently attend schools here in the district. I have a niece who is going to be enrolled, hopefully in the future, should things work out. However, this is my third event that I have attended this week in support of the anti-vax mandate. From Huntington Beach Pier to the Capo Valley Unified School District meeting, which did end well, but it got out at 11:30. I'm pretty tired, so forgive me. I teach my daughter that our bodies are amazing and designed to attack and heal with their toxins when they enter the body. We've been taking our vitamins and eating healthy and enjoying our lives. Let's see, I'm sorry. This summer, my daughter did get COVID, and after being exposed at camp prior to this, she had been very fearful of COVID because of the indoctrination from the propaganda and teachers cramming these ridiculous protocols and fear into our children. After having COVID, she had a very little symptoms and side effects, and now understands what I have been telling her. Drugs and vaccines are not the same for everyone. I have an autoimmune disorder, and I personally know more people who have died after the second shot or booster than have died from COVID. I'm not discrediting that people die. I'm just saying I personally know more who have been affected by the shot than the virus. What about my fears? Are they irrelevant? Can we not take this into, what if we can't take this out of our children? If the children are injected, are you willing to take on this risk and live with that? I'm not. I will stand for these children, all of your children, my child's future. I am fearful for my daughter's future as she is a bright 16-year-old junior cheerleader, honor student, and has a current GPA of 4.5. She has already informed me that she will get the vax and take that risk so she can continue to enjoy the high school experience that she has been able to enjoy this last year, being that it's been robbed from her the last two. This risk outweighs the benefit. Are you willing to take that risk for our future for the short-term possible benefit of compliance and your jobs with the governor that is way out of line and is clearly exhibiting government overreach? Please ask yourselves why. Can you live with yourselves? Last night, the Capo Unified School District approved and sent a response to Governor Newsom to rescind his request for the vax mandate on the basis that it will critically affect their ability to provide quality education to all students in grades K through 12 should it be required, because many of the parents will pull their kids out of school. There are many schools and co-ops being created now as we speak, and these parents are serious and will remove. It costs that district $500,000 on Monday for 1 day for these children.
Jim Gallagher, followed by the final speaker, Elizabeth McDougall.
Hi. I promise this time I won't go over. So, to me, it seemed that tonight what was on the agenda, or at least what we were really concerned about, was, in fact, is there going to be an anti-mandate move put on the agenda for this board to vote on in the future? And apparently you might have discussed that in closed session, from what I understand. And so hopefully you've given some thought to the fact that we had voted on a $750 million school bond in the past few years. This is probably the most tax that I pay for this school board, and I'm very pleased what I see as the results. I do think CVUSD is a great school district. I also think that this board does work very hard. All 5 of you works very hard to care about our kids. From the record, I do believe that most residents who voted for this do believe that the mandates are necessary and they want their kids to be safe, and they understand that. I believe they're also afraid to be here. But the parents here, I mean, your emotion and your passion tonight is, I think, well heard. So it's very understandable. Let me point out that a few years ago, this district entered into another lawsuit. It cost this district hundreds of thousands of dollars. It was a lawsuit from the FFRF, you might recall. And in fact, the people that helped bring that about are also on this board tonight. We were promised money for this district to pay for the legal fees. I don't believe they ever came. Tonight, the parents here are saying they'll stand behind you if you oppose the mandate. I wonder if the money will ever come to help with that. I would rather see this school board move forward and continue to meet the needs of the students. Now, in answer to the fact that the public comments were placed at the end of the agenda, I think that was a good thing, because if you'll note, there was a lot of comments tonight, and so I think that's a good time. You would not have had a chance to discuss item 2A and have that moved and have that special meeting put out if we had public comments in the beginning. We would have never gotten through the regular agenda. So congratulations to the board for making a wise decision to move the public comments to the end when you knew that we would have a lot of comment. So I say stay with the mandate, but write at least a letter. I think these parents at least deserve a letter to be sent to the governor.
Time.
The final speaker is Elizabeth McDougall.
People, please, we're almost done. Folks, please.
Elizabeth McDougall.
Go ahead, ma'am. Folks, one more outburst, please.
Thank you, board, for having me here. Thank God we live in this country, the land of the free, where you can actually voice something that you want to voice. There's other countries you can't do that. My dad came from Cuba, just like the last gentleman that was here. He was a contra-revolutionist. His best friend was Castro. They diverged. My dad passed away last year. He was 94. I'm here basically in his legacy for our children of the future. And you think that nobody watches this, but everybody does. I've gone to the other point, of the other side of the U.S., and people are watching us here. So do not think that nobody's watching you. They're watching your faces. I've been watching your faces the entire time. I see your mocking. I see your eye rolls. I see everything. God sees everything. Okay? I go to Calvary Chapel as well, just like a lot of these people here. I'm going to tell you something. that job, it has genetic codes that change your brain. It changes a kid to not progress, to not function the right way. The same thing is in our food. Let thy medicine be thy food and thy food be thy medicine. Okay? So you can do the same thing with oils. You can take oils and have a natural immunity. You can get better with oils. You can do that with tinctures. I do also homeopathic medicine. Okay? The other thing I wanted to do with the ESR, I have an idea for y'all. You don't have to spend so much money. I'm also a veteran, 8 years, Army. I served in Korea. I was in Iraq in 2009 and 2010. I'll tell you something. I also am MST, okay? There's all these kids, they also have problems, right? Mental? Okay. I'm not saying I'm a mental case. I'm not. But everybody has issues in this time. So I'll tell you what. I'll give you one thing, whether you let me talk beyond this or not. The VA does Zoom meetings for counseling. Do that with the rest of the kids. Take that 300-something odd money and use that and give it to the parents so they can put their kids in tutoring, put their kids in outdoor sports, these are these buildings. These are from the 1950s. You are kidding me. You guys are lining your pockets. You're lining your pockets. You're lining your homes with beautiful decorations. But what are you doing with the kids at the schools? Beautify your school. Beautify your
Time.
district. And then you will change.
Time.
I understand. You will change.
And it's time.
Pat, the next speaker, please.
That was the final speaker.
That was our last speaker?
Final speaker.
Thank you. Okay, we're moving on now to section 5, communications, board members and superintendents. Communications, Mr. Cruz.
I'm waiting. Okay. First of all, is that lady still here that mentioned that survey she wanted to write for us to submit to the community?
No, they're gone.
Okay, they're gone. I want to thank all of you for attending tonight's board meeting, for coming and getting involved. It's your constitutional right and my pleasure seeing you here. From where I sit, it's your child, and I think you should come to every board meeting. It is essential now to come every board meeting now. These are perilous times with regards to your children's education and health. As your elected board member, I want you to know your kids' education and safety are my highest priority. That belief will put your child behind. COVID has taken away that focus, putting fear in people's minds, and has put health above education. That belief will put your child behind by years and lessen opportunities in life, forcing them to spend excess years to catch up. I've spent a lot of research. The facts on COVID and its effect on your child. And to my amazement, I would like to share those findings that I found. So let's look at these findings. First slide. Can you blow it up? Not blown up. Well, the survivor rate is 99.9995. That is the survivor rate. And these are facts that are going to be presented. I am waiting. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. COVID mandates versus student health. The big lie exposed. You know, COVID mandates such as social distancing, masks, and COVID vaccinations have next to zero effect on keeping students from dying from COVID. It's completely a fact. What are we afraid of? Now that's the question we should be asking ourselves. A lot of people are afraid. Let's go over the facts. It's really important for us to know the facts versus our feelings. The facts are reality. This is emotional times, and it's with feelings. We need to fill our buckets with facts, which will help us with our feelings. Because there's so much fear going on that many of us are not thinking clear or not even doing our research to really understand what's actually happening. So let's go over the facts. Let's go over the facts. The U.S. has 48 million students. California has 6 million students. The California percentage of total of students is 12.5%. And what I did was I divided the 6 million divided by 48 million. That's 12.5%. The U.S. population for 2020 was 330 million people. The California population for 2020 was 39.6 million people. California makes up 12.5%. I divided 39.6 divided by 330. So 12.5% of the total population. You notice it mirrors both of them. Very close. K through 12 U.S. COVID-19 deaths for the CDC for 2020. Ages 5 through 14 is 67. Ages 5 through 17 is 176. And we notice that the total COVID deaths per CDC, per the CDC, is 243. Now let's think about that number, 243. 243 throughout America. Okay? That's 243. The total K through, oh, sorry. The total K through 12 COVID death facts. Total COVID K through 12 deaths is 243. The total U.S. students is 48 million. The total California students is 6 million. Therefore, California makes up 12% or 29 COVID deaths, or we could say 30 COVID deaths. So that's how many people, that's how many K through 12 died in our school district. 30 COVID deaths or 29 COVID deaths. Now, yeah, California in general. Yeah. No, it's not a school district. I apologize. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Folks, this is the time for the board to
Yeah.
communicate out. Thank you.
So California makes up 30 COVID deaths, all of California. Now ask yourself, why was every school in California, K through 12, shut down over 30 possible deaths? So why was every school in California, K through 12, shut down over 30 possible deaths? Now, CDC possible deaths defined. The CDC website states COVID-19 deaths with that symbol. And what does that symbol mean? Deaths with confirmed or presumed COVID-19 as an underlying or contributing cause of death. Now, what does that actually mean? I mean, for example, if a child was skateboarding at a particular park, he falls down, cracks his head, and he dies. And then the doctor finds out that he's positive for COVID. Many times they would presume it had to do with COVID, so they would place him in the COVID statistics. And the reason why doctors would do that would be because maybe he was weak and he fell down. But that system is presuming that person died of COVID. So out of those 30, the definition states confirmed or presumed, the underlying contributing cause of death, a guess. So we could also say that a skateboarder did indeed was caused by an injury, a statistics by injury. So that is factual, or we can presume that he died because of the COVID. That's what caused his fall. Are they confirmed, which is factual, or are they presumed, which is a guess or non-factual? So you got 30 that have died throughout California, and not all 30 is factual. You have some that are presumed. So, and at the same time, what do we call this? This is called stacking the data. Stacking the data, why? Well, logic is fear, because fear drives people in directions that you would never go. You obey. Fear, you wear your mask. Fear, you take your shot. So it could be a quarter, it could be 50% presumed. And let me tell you, this has nothing to do about kids. It does not affect kids. But we're willing to give an experimental shot where myocarditis is greater than getting the COVID infection. Remember, there are only 30 deaths throughout California. CD has stated there's never an exact number of influenza deaths for any year. If the CD doesn't know the exact number, then what is the truth? What is the truth? Did 243 people really die from COVID in America? Or did 30 actually die of COVID of California? Oops. Hold on. Did I go too far? The truth is based on facts. There was only 243 estimated COVID deaths in K through 12 in the US. California had only 30 estimated deaths. There are 6 million K through 12 students in California. K through 12 COVID dying odds. $30 divided by 6 million equals 0.00005% odds of dying from COVID. That is super, super low. So, real math, that wasn't meant to be there. I erased it. It's not Common Core. I remember that in the past. So it's 0.005 odds of dying from COVID. So we have 99.9995 chance of living. Okay? 99.99, and the push of vaccinating our children, like we all heard, they want to vaccinate our 5-year-olds. But the focus should not be on our children. The focus should be people that are greater than 65. Those are the ones that are dying. Those are the ones 80%. But they are pushing so hard for our children. Oh, that's it. So my final thoughts. I have some final thoughts. I believe in the bottom line strategy, up strategy, when it comes to, oh, there it is. There it is. My final thoughts. So actually, 99.99995% chance of living. We have to fight this. We have to fight this because it's much more riskier for our kids to take the shot than just to get the respiratory infection. It has to be the case. It just has to be. So, my final thoughts. I believe in the bottom-up strategy when it comes to our children's education and health. Taxpayers, parents, children, teachers, administrators. Teacher unions and representatives are not for our child, period. Far from that. And we see examples what they're doing. We'll see. And, you know, I've been doing a lot of research on this. I've been digging in real deep and deep. And my analysis, my conclusion is this. There's so much malfeasance occurring that these folks will not be able to walk down the streets of so much of the suffering that they have done to people. And this is important what I'm going to tell you, okay? January 26th or July, that's when they're going to implement the COVID mandates. And that's when the segregation will start. You can't think about November election. You got to think now, and you have to start now thinking about recalling because things are going to get worse. You can't wait till July because that's when people are going to start getting fired and that's when you're going to be pressured. So the recall has to start now. I think some of these board members have already decided how their decisions they made. You can't wait till November. You really can't. You really have to start thinking about recalling, getting real serious. There's one good part. I have some good news. I believe it's good news. That through this fabrication of mandates, through this tyranny that we're going through, and through the collapse of this country and war, we're going to have the greatest generation. Our children will be the greatest generation, just like the World War II veterans, that they went through the influenza epidemic, they went through the Depression, and they went through war. Some things are going to be so awesome. You put pressure on people, they change, and they become better. They become innovative, new technology. The bottom line is, there's going to be a little suffering occurring. This is going to be relentless. So we have to be relentless too. So we got to start recalling now because it's going to get harder later. Thank you.
Mr. Na.
I think it was a few years ago when I would turn on to a radio station while I'm driving. I would always listen to this commercial. And it could be from a hospital. But he said, "For whom your heart is beating this morning?" For whom? When I saw hundreds of our parents showed up tonight, I knew for whom your heart was beating for. It was for our children. It's for our family. It's about this California. It's about our community. Let me tell you about Chino High School. Everybody knows Chino High School is being rebuilt, a brand new building. It's been a while back, but I had a serious question about that school when people were concerned with water qualities on campus. We used old 50s, 40s pipe, and there was a real concern with water poisoning, actually. So my question to the staff was, so why hasn't been updated? And their answer was, yes, we have been doing that for last 10 years. And I said, at what cost? And I believe it was like $30 million. But guess what? It didn't make any dent. You fixed a little bit of roof here, a little paint here, a little bathroom here. just went away. I don't know, was it for a subcontractor's pocket? I don't know where it went. The kids were still suffering for not having a modern school. So we said, how about just build a brand new school? That's what we do with our cars. When it breaks down, if it's just little brakes or oils, then we fix them. But if it's just whole transmission and engine goes bad at the same time, it's better almost we buy a brand new car. So people have agreed. Now we have a brand new school. And I feel today that's what's happening with our Sacramento. It's broken in so many places. Whatever we put in, whoever we sent to support our community or serve us, the public, it's not there. And I know why it's not there. People do change after they get elected. And I have been sharing this top secret to many of my colleagues, and especially young people, because I want to really train them how to be a real public servant. As you get elected, okay, I know you have run several times, Mr. Gallagher, but yours hopefully still pure, because you haven't got elected so far. But this is what contamination takes place. Once you get elected, you would get letters. You get letters, lots of letters, even from people that you don't know. And the difference is, instead of saying Mr. So-and-so, they put honorable with capital H. And guess who is it from? Probably some office secretary personnel, somebody that you don't know, or it could be a college student having a part-time job. It says honorable. And you don't get just 1 or 2 letters. You get like 30, 40, 50 letters. So then guess what? As you keep reading it, flipping your envelopes, you feel like you're somebody different, which you're not. That was from a minimum wage typist who typed you. So suddenly, when it's your regular name, Mr. So-and-so, you almost like, how dare? And you don't want to open up that envelope. It's toxic. It's like addiction. You think you're somebody special. You know what? I don't know. You still eat 3 times a day and drink same water, but they get tainted. So I warn our youth, the future leaders, that who wants to hold an office, to know who they are, and never sell yourself to this addiction. And guess what? When you sell your soul to that one typist, rest of your life is ruined because you are not normal anymore. You want to command things. You want to control people. And you want to look down on people. That is the biggest problem. But guess what? When I was talking to some girls, they were always talking about makeups, and I didn't know the girls like makeups because my daughter doesn't really put on so much makeups. But whatever brand they put on, for how thick it is, how many coats, I don't know, you cannot keep up for a whole year. It has come down. So true comes out, who you are. To know somebody, a true character, give them a what? Money. Give them power, and it'll show up. And that's truth, who they are. And that's where you're going to teach your children how to be a decent human being. So, now let's go back to another story. a few years back, big electric company called Edison wanted to come into our town. Yes, you remember that. Remember that. And so our other cities, they were involved too. And they put up electrical lines, whatever they wanted to. Guess why? They were so big, they're almost a giant. But Chino Valley people were different than any others. And today we had hundreds of people showed up. We need you. I want you, each one of you, to be responsible for 10, 20, or 30 people of your family members, your neighbors, to campaign. Campaign for what? Have a common sense and speak out your common sense for our children's sake and sake of our California. And that's exactly what we have done when we fought Edison. We came all together, and we didn't stop. We didn't stop for the house. However, this is our children. Who cares about the house? When there's an earthquake hits, it's going to go away. But our children, we can't do that. Our grandkids, we can't do that. When, as I said last meeting, when I'm over 50 years old, if I take the vaccine, 50-50 chance, I'll take it. It's okay. I lived my life. I had good foods, sometimes very good memories, sometimes not so, but I lived my life. I tasted many fruits. I was like a lot of meats, okay, vegetables, everything. So I'm okay. But our little ones, the side effects, it's so detrimental. They don't deserve that. They don't. I told kids at CVLA, you know what? You guys you said you got in trouble, but it's okay because you are still more important than any of us put together, even the hardworking principal. And they said, how do you come on with that, Mr. Na? And I said, let's say there's a swimming pool. Either me or your principal, but one of you gets drowned. And if I was there, and all I could do is save a person at a time, I'll come to rescue you first because you're our baby. This is how we do it with our animals. If we had a dog and a puppy drowning at the same time and we have to grab onto first one, it would be a puppy. It's a common sense. But any of these people here in our school district or people in education, including this board, if we don't have that in our heart, they don't belong here. It's a fake. It's a fake. But in order to have that spirit, it takes practice. It takes practice. Everything, whether you be a follower, it takes practice to be a good follower. If you're going to be a good leader, it takes good practice to be a good leader. Everything's about life lesson. Now my meeting is getting so long, so I got to go into like quite important stuff today also. Recently in Virginia, one female student was assaulted or raped by a male student in the school bathroom who was allowed to enter into girls' bathroom. So what is right with that or what is wrong with that? It's a big problem. We must protect our female students in our school district by having biologically male students using boys' bathroom, locker rooms, and shower facilities only. So, everybody sees the problem. But as one gentleman says, When you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. No dates will be changed for the meeting. Nothing. So I will place policy revision as an information item in the next meeting and as an action item in the following meeting to protect our female students. I think I'm always a kind of crazy person. Somebody accuses Mr. Cruz being crazy, but I am more, actually worse. But this is a perfectly normal thing as a grown-up over 18 years old. Even I talk to the kids at CVLA. They don't want opposite boys into their sister's bathroom or shower in locker room. I don't care who says it's okay. I really don't care who says it's okay. It's wrong. It hurts our girls. So I'm going to do that. And matter of fact, many of our parents had shared that fear with me after hearing that news. And so it's really dear for me. And I'll make sure that it'll be on information item and we'll go in action. Yes, this is another battle. We're not taking the law mandates. If we would have to just do that, I would like to have LA Times on the wall and our staff just read and follow what they said from LA Times. But we're people, and people matters, and our children matters. So we need to do everything to protect our kids, whether this whole country says no, it doesn't matter. We need to protect our children. It's a decency. Now, I had a fun time in one calculus classroom. It's amazing. The teacher, I think Mr. Schultz at Ayala, he invited me to come watch calculus class. And I said, well, I had to be polite because I knew everybody loved him. But the funny thing was, the students were in a line, and they couldn't get into classroom right away. And I said, oh, what's going on? Actually, he had a good plan. He had two students standing up, and he had cards, memorization cards for different formulas. So kids have to at least know one new formulation, then they were able to enter into classroom. So actually, every single student in the whole classroom was able to learn something every morning. I said, wow, this was smart. And then when he was asking questions, he said, oh, so-and-so, are you ready? He says, no, I can't get this question. And his answer was, just say it. Pretend you know the answer. He said, but it doesn't matter. Pretend you know the answer. So he threw out something. Of course, it was a wrong answer. But then we had other students jump in. Oh, this is how I did it. This is my answer. So there was collaboration taking in that classroom. And everybody was smiling and having fun because they were learning. Not in competition way, but learning together. So I thought that was really great, really great. And lastly, this time the CVLA students, oh, they had so much talent. It's unbelievable. There was actually a student who wanted to become a doctor. Even though he was in trouble, he wanted to become a doctor. And I said, oh, that's good. I mean, you're still young. You're still young. If you have done that same thing, what you have done in your 20s or 30s, guess what? You'll be in big trouble, huh? Yes. But now you're still young. You could fall and get up and move on. So we had a student who wanted to become a doctor, another student who wanted to become a Olympics swimmer, and one CPA, and a hairstylist. Just so many talents at CVLA. So I really had a great time being with those kids. And also, each one of you and all of us, we used to be a child one day in the past. And remember things that we had cherished. Make it even stronger in your family. The things that we didn't like as a child, don't let that happen in your family. So that's my comments for tonight. Thank you.
Mr. Bridge. Just very quickly, since we're on Don Lugo's campus, I wanted to highlight one event tomorrow night. Don Lugo's FFA, Future Farmers of America Fall Festival is tomorrow night over on the other side of campus on the Roswell side, located at their farm. It is from 4 o'clock to 9 p.m. tomorrow evening, October 22nd. They're going to have games, a pumpkin patch, and food. And the good thing is, if you're 12 and over, it's only $5 to get in, and kids 11 and under are free. And they state it's family friendly. So compared to some of the other areas around town that are having similar things, it seems like a very good deal. The fact that it's on this campus, and I've always liked supporting Don Lugo, having been on this campus for 8 years myself before going over to Ayala. I want to support everything I can. So hopefully you'll be able to make it or let somebody know that it is available tomorrow night. And that's it. Thank you. Mrs. Gagne?
I would say good evening, but that would be a greeting, so thank you for hanging in there and attending this evening. I also want to comment, I think many of our student speakers have already left, but I want to thank them for coming in. I always comment on this, but it's very intimidating for anybody to speak in front of a crowd, and I'm always proud of our students who come in and voice their opinions. I have a couple of announcements. One is that the Chino Valley Chamber is actually having a live pitch competition at the shops in Chino Hills on November 6th. It's in conjunction with an entrepreneur fair for students in kindergarten through 6th grade. So there'll be booths set up with budding entrepreneurs who are going to be pitching their businesses from booths, and then we as a chamber are sponsoring an event for 7th through 12th graders. We have 7 different teams competing for grants to help their business ideas, so I would encourage you to attend and become involved. Last year we did this virtually. It was really successful, and our students got some great mentorship opportunities. The chamber is also hosting a job fair for any job seekers at Chaffey College this coming Wednesday afternoon on October 27th. A variety of local employers will be there, and so if you know anybody in search for a job, it's a great opportunity. Finally, our student board member, still there, all right, Esther, had contacted me a couple of weeks ago. Apparently the San Bernardino, the oversight for county schools is considering a student position on the board to allow a student to represent the San Bernardino County Schools to the county board. And I just want to express my support of that initiative. I know that she had brought that to my attention, but I think a student voice is very important, and so I'm happy to throw my support behind that. And if this board would be willing to do so, I think we should issue a resolution of support for that student board member position. And with that, I thank everyone for coming this evening.
Dr. Enfield?
Yeah, I just had one comment tonight. The board, I know you took action to suspend the approval of the ESSER 3 plan. Just to walk the board through a timeline that you would probably need to follow if you want to approve a plan and submit it to the state by Friday, October 29th. So you have a board meeting scheduled for Tuesday, October 26th, and at that meeting I know you would receive input, and then the board would need to provide directions on what changes you would like to make to that plan. Then the following day would give my staff time, that one day on the 27th, Wednesday the 27th, to write that plan. And then on Thursday the 28th, we would need to hold another board meeting because the board does need to approve that plan. And then if it was approved then on Thursday, then we would be able to submit it to the board to the state by Friday on the 29th. So I think there'll need to be 2 board meetings, one on the 26th and then one on the 28th. And that concludes my comments.
Pat, did you get that? Thank you. And that's it, Dr. Info? I have no comments. Thank you for coming this evening. I adjourn this regular meeting of the Board of Education